reason why people are unhappy with after a claim. So after you put in a claim, why some people are unhappy. Guess the first thing is because they don't have the coverage that was offered, or else they declined it. And that is something that we definitely do in our office. At the office is if you do decline coverage, we note it. Because again, we want to make sure that we did offer you that coverage. And if you decline it, you decline it. And if you decide to take it, we'll also note that, and we will add that coverage to your homeowner's policy as well.
That's probably one of the most heartbreaking things for us as an agent is to see that a claim that could have been covered wasn't, because someone didn't purchase the insurance.
Right.
That was
and
awful.
Price is important. We do understand that, but you need to start also think that it's a small price to pay now for a huge claim in the future, because you want to be able to have that coverage when it's needed. That's for sure.
It's a balancing act. It's always between price and coverage. You got to find that middle ground where there's a value. I don't have an issue with somebody not having a cover if they were expecting that. If it was a conversation that we had and said, hey, you have a gap in coverage here, and they said, you know what, I think the risk is low. I've got some financial reserves in the bank. I don't mind taking that risk on myself. So those are the cases where, all right, we had that discussion. They knew what they were getting into. Those are kind of okay, because it's okay for you to accept more risk on your own. You just need to know that you're accepting that risk. When people don't realize it, that's when the issue arises.
Right. Yep, so true. So the other things about it, sometimes they don't have enough coverage as well. That's the other issue, is what you were saying. So sometimes what happens is people are not purchasing enough coverage, or their deductible is high, and some people like to have higher deductible because, just like you said, they're okay with that because they are able to accept the risk due to their financial stability as well. So that's okay as well.
And I'll tell you what, kind of the standard, when I first started, the standard deductible is $500. Now it's $1,000. Most companies won't even write lower than that. And honestly, I just increased my deductible on some of my policies to $2,500, just because I'm relatively handy, so I can fix most things myself for less. And I just know that for those kind of smaller claims, I'm probably not going to put them in regardless, just because I don't want them on my record. So I know I'm taking on more risk myself, but I'm comfortable with that, risk. And, the tough you talked about not having enough coverage. That's always a tough one, because you say, okay, we have one company that offers bundles, and part of that bundle is a siding and roofing restoration coverage. It gives you $10,000 of coverage. So if there's damage to your siding or roof, they're going to pay up to $10,000 to replace all your siding or your entire roof to make it look uniform. So you don't have to have kind of a patchwork roof or siding.
Yeah.
Now, once you buy the initial coverage, buying the incremental coverage on top of that is not that much more expensive.
Yeah, we're talking dollars, just simply dollar bills.
Exactly. So you go from $10,000 to $50,000, which is the max. It's like $15 to $20 a year.
Yeah.
So less than $2 a month for that increased coverage. Now, I know I've had the unfortunate pleasure of having to side one of my houses, and it was well over $10,000, and it was a modest size house. So some of these larger houses with more intricate shapes on them can start to be very costly for to side or to roof. So you typically $10,000 is not going to be adequate for people. Right. Like I said, you had that conversation. Hey, you get this initial coverage for 10, you can bump it up to 50 for less than $2 a month.
Yeah.
Well worth that coverage.
Absolutely. A lot of other times people don't realize that, like the siding on their house, the manufacturer doesn't make it anymore. Or the case could be they do make it, but now you've had sun that has come on it and it's faded. So now you're not going to be uniform. It could be the same exact siding, but it's faded on one side. It's not going to look uniform. So that's another perfect example how you want the whole thing to look uniform. It goes back to the same house that you had originally.
And manufacturers are smart. They're not going to make the exact same siding for years after year after year. They're going to make
or keep the same colors. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna make little changes here or there, so you can't match up your
Yep.
old siding with your new, because they want people to reside that whole house.
There you go. There you go. Another reason why people are unhappy after the claim is because they didn't understand the policy when they purchased it. I know I'm dating myself here, but way back when in the 70s, there used to be a guy named Cy Sims, and his biggest thing was, educated consumer is our best customer. And it's almost the same way. We want you to be educated. We want you to totally understand what the coverages are that you have, and what they do cover. So we do send out, insurance reviews, and you should review insurance. At least once a year is great, but no longer than every 3 years. You should definitely do it at least every 3 years to review, just to see what your coverages are, understand them. You also mentioned about your deductible. Maybe they want to increase their deductible, save some money on that end as well. So again, an insurance review is great. This week I've done 3 of them, actually, with 3 different clients that we have, and it's a great way just to touch base. And again, every one of them, I save them money, whether it be $10 or $50. It was still a savings for them as well. So reviews always
worried with that, with those reviews, that they're going to end up spending more on their insurance.
They do, and some do, but a lot of times they don't. So
yeah.
It's actually
but if they do, it's typically for good reason.
Exactly.
Because
like they realize they've got
put an addition on their house, or
yes,
finish their basement,
yes,
or they got a pool, so they just wanted more liability coverage, or
yeah. Or they put on that sunroom. Oh, this is addition. Yep, it's attached to your house. It's an addition, so you want to make sure that you're covered for that and your brand new sunroom that you've just put in as well. Yep, so true, so true.
Another reason why people aren't happy after a claim sometimes is because they don't realize that the insurance companies will have a holdback amount on certain size claims.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Some people just think, okay, hey, the example is if you had a detached structure that is in maybe rough shape, like a detached garage or shed, tree branch falls on it. Say the insurance company estimate that it's $7,000 to replace that shed. You decide, you know what, I never use that shed. I don't need that shed. I'm not going to replace it. The insurance company's not going to give you a check for $7,000 because you didn't replace it. They're going to initially give you a check for $5,000. And they're going to say, okay, once you replace it, show us the receipt, send us a picture, and then we'll give you the remaining $2,000. If you don't replace it, you don't get that $2,000 because you've essentially been made whole just by getting that cash. Right. If you say, hey, I need this shed and I want it, as soon as you get that shed up, they're going to give you that remaining $2,000 for it. So yeah, that's one of those things where people don't understand, like, well, geez, my coverage says I get $10,000. They say it's going to take $7,000 to replace it. Why am I not getting that just because I'm not replacing it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another good point. Good point. The other reason why people are unhappy is that the insurance, they want the insurance company to pay for something that's not meant to cover. Say, for instance, a tree falls. It didn't hit any structure. It didn't hit a fence, just fell from a windstorm. There's no coverage on that from your homeowners. It needs to absolutely hit some type of structure, whether, like I said, be a fence, a shed, a garage, but it does need to strike a covered property. Wear and tear on your roof, that's another issue. Insurance company is not a maintenance. So if the wear and tear on your roof, it's not going to be covered as well on that one. There are maintenance contracts out there that people are buying now that they're advertising on TV for air conditioning, for your appliances and things like that. Those are always all those warranty type of policies that have out there, but your homeowner's insurance does not cover that type of thing.
I see that with a lot of new home purchases. They're kind of building that into the price, saying, hey, you can get this home warranty with this purchase of the house for whatever, 3 or 5 years, and they're financing it right along with the purchase of the home.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think that's it. Again, I think the other thing we did mentioned earlier, and we need to reiterate on this again, is that you should always review your homeowner's policy every 3 years. It really needs to be done every 3 years. If you want to do it every year, give us a call. That's great. We always love hearing from you. But every 3, you should not wait after 3 years, because you just never know. I mean, it could be something as simple as you paid off your mortgage. You never told us. So again, if you have a claim and you still have a mortgage on there, just think about it. You're going to get a check from the insurance company with your name on it and a mortgage that you paid off 3 years ago. You don't want that to happen. So again, if you paid off your mortgage, you need to let us know. So that's another one of the reasons to do a review, a homeowner's review, at least every 3 years.
Yeah, you never want to find out you don't have the proper coverage when you have a claim.
Yeah.
It's always best to find out before.
Yes.
So that's why we say review your policy. It's never convenient or fun to have a claim, but kind of rest assured when you do, your insurance agent and company this is when they are going to kick into action to help make you whole again.
Yes.
So this is where they strive. They want to make sure that you're satisfied with the claim, because really that is their biggest stamp of approval. You know, they sold you a promise, and this is their time to
shine
it with that promise.
Absolutely.
So now we hope that you find these videos helpful.
I hope so too.
When you are purchasing new insurance or just reviewing your existing insurance, if you're not a current client of ours and you'd like us to review your insurance for us, we'd be happy to help. Think of us at any time. Give us a call at the agency or shoot us an email. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Enjoy and stay safe.
Sooner than a month. Hopefully we'll talk to you sooner than a month.
Try about that. And everybody stay safe.